Hi there. I'd like to tell the story of how my encounter with my friend Linda at my first job out of college affected my life 20 years later and has set it on this course of going to graduate school. I walked into the interview room where she was interviewing me for a permanent position, as I was a temp at the time, and there was a profound sense of destiny. I walked into that room and I thought, I know her. I mean, we had this chemistry right away. Um, I knew we'd be best friends, and that was, in fact, the case. We stayed best friends. Even though I moved to Bellingham, Washington, and then moved to Portland, and then moved to the beach for a while, moved back to Chicago for a while, we stayed best friends. And so when she came down with a really debilitating form of Parkinson's disease, a really rare form, and she was going to have brain surgery in Gainesville, Florida, I said to myself, I'm going to go help her. So in 2010, I quit my job. I drove across the country, and it was a 2-month process, the surgery, and I walked into her hotel room because they were in Gainesville already, and I was confronted by the sight of someone I didn't recognize. She was thin. When I say thin, I mean emaciated. She almost couldn't feed herself. She was not the woman I knew, and there was the smell of sickness in the room. I did not expect it. Let's just put it that way. I ended up spending 2 months there and helped her with her surgery, and it was a time of great sorrow for me and sadness, but also one of the more beautiful times in my life. So Linda died in 2012, and because she left me a little money, I was able to take a trip that I wasn't expecting. In 2012, I started what I call getting messages about the Camino de Santiago. My boyfriend at the time started talking about it, and then I went to a monastery for an event in October, and the woman sitting next to me was a carbon copy of Linda, down to the jewelry and the hair, and we talked afterwards in the garden, and she was an Episcopalian minister and was talking about going to the Camino de Santiago and walking it the next year, and I thought, that's odd. And then 2 weeks after that, my massage therapist brought up the Camino randomly and said his mother had walked it. And a month after that, my good friend brought up the movie The Way and sent it to me, and I watched it. And a month after that, my friend who lived at the beach told me she was cleaning out her parents' house, and she'd found this weird pamphlet for some walk in Europe, and so she thought she'd send it my way. And she sent it to me, and it was a pamphlet for the Camino from the 1960s. And I thought, you've got to be kidding me. Like, this is not in my life plan. I don't do things like this. So I remember sitting on my bed in the afternoon in Portland, and I just had this profound sense of exhaustion. And I looked up to God and I said, is this what you want me to do? Like all these signs? And the answer was yes. And the instant I made that decision, everything worked in its power to get me to go on the Camino. So I went to the Camino and I walked it for 3.5 months, and to say that it broke me down would be an understatement. I came back to the States a totally new human being. I wouldn't have been able to do it if Linda hadn't left me some money. Um, I was driving across the country and was listening to On Being with Krista Tippett, and she was interviewing Nadia Bolz-Weber, and I thought, I'm so envious. I want to do what this woman's doing. So I started researching graduate schools, and I go to the iLive website, and I'm watching the video, and it says, see what our former graduates have to say. And I press play, and it's Nadia Bolz-Weber, and I was like, all right, that's it. Done. I'm going. I didn't apply anywhere else. I thought, if God had set this intricate, beautiful dance in play that started 20 years ago that has led me here, then this is where I'm supposed to go. And that's my story.